Hello everyone! Magandang araw pong muli sa inyong lahat and welcome to our channel para sa mga bago pa lang nakapasyal sa ating bahay. At syempre, welcome back sa lahat po ng ating mga suking subscribers na nanonood sa ngayon. Welcome to the channel and Happy Mother's Day po sa lahat ng ating mga suking mother subscribers. Ayan. Ito po ang first time kong celebrating Mother's Day away from my kids. Kaya medyo malungkot pero laban lang para sa ekonomiya, syempre. Kaya mas maswerte kayo sa akin kasi you don't have to go far away. Hindi nyo kailangan lumayo sa pamilya at na-celebrate nyo yung mga ganitong pa-event with your family. Anyway, let's start our video sa isang reminder. Meron po akong gustong i-announce sa lahat. We are now on Objective 13 of our RPMS serye. Yehey! Dalawa na lang po, 14 and 15 na lang at matatapos na tayo. Because of that, after, katulad ng usapan natin, pag natapos natin ang 15 objectives, ay ipapalabas na natin at isi-share ang ating RPMS portfolio complete with the sample MOVs and annotation para po sa inyong lahat. Kasi yung mga binibigay nating template pa lang yun. May mga spaces para sa MOVs and annotation. Pero di ba habang ginagawa natin yung bawat objective, naglalagay na tayo, nag-attach na tayo ng mga MOVs sa ating RPMS portfolio. Now, pagkatapos ng 15 objectives natin, ilalabas ko na at i-share ko na sa inyo yung ating nabuong RPMS portfolio complete with the 15 MOVs and annotation for each. Ayan. Pero, subalit datapwat, ibibigay ko lang po ito sa lahat po ng ating mga subscribers. Dapat nakasubscribe kayo na nakapag-comment. You should be able to put comment mula sa ating objective 1 to 15. Ayan maglalagay kayo ng comment mula sa ating objective 1 to 15 para po kayo mag-qualify na makapag-avail ng ating RPMS portfolio complete with all the MOVs and annotation, okay? Hindi nyo kailangang magnobela sa comment po, ha? Kahit hello, hi, Teacher Rocky, okay na yon basta meron kayong comment para sa bawat objective from 1 to 15. Bakit? Kasi po, I believe na the more comments that we have, the more po na na-share ni YouTube ang ating video. Ibig sabihin, mas madami ang makakaalam ng tungkol sa ating ginagawang RPMS portfolio, mas marami tayong matutulungan. Kaya tulungan niyo po akong makatulong pa sa mas madami, okay? With your comment. Napapansin ko, parang kukunti na lang nagko-comment. Ilan na lang nagko-comment sa ating video. Pati ba naman comment, pinagdadamot nyo pa sa akin? Huwag niyo man ako tipirin sa comment. Grabe naman kayo doon. Kahit maikling comment lang, payag naman ako. Ba? Diba? And this is not just for me and for all of other teachers din na pwede pa nating ma-reach out. Okay? Maraming salamat po agad for that. Again, ang makaka-avail lang po ng ating complete RPMS portfolio complete with MOVs and annotation ay yung nakapag-subscribe at napag-comment mula sa objective 1 to 15. So, from this time on, mag-uumpisa na ako mag-record ng lahat ng mga comment from objective 1 to 15 para pag nag-request kayo, madali ko nang i-check kung kumpleto ang comment nyo from objective 1 to 15. Ayos ba yun? Okay. Maliwanag yan, ha? Wala nang ulitan. Hindi, ulitin ko ulit sa objective 14 and 15 para ma-remind tayo lagi. Anyway, let's move on to our pa-shoutout. Siyempre, dahil konti nga ang nag-comment, mabilis lang to, huwag kayong mag-alala. At ang video natin for today, maikli lang. Kasi walang PPST module. Mamaya malalaman nyo kung bakit. Anyway, I would like to start with Ma'am Zen Villanueva. Sabi niya, hello po, Teacher Rocky. Thank you po sa pag-share. Ayan, maraming salamat po, Ma'am Zen. Si Ma'am Zen, parang medyo ma-absent sa ating mga comment. Pero I'm glad that you're back po. Thank you. From Sir Jose Brazil Vencito. Perfect na po, ma'am. Objective 12 na po tayo. Thanks po a lot. More blessings po. Not quite. Ito pa po ang Objective 13 at meron pa tayong Objective 14 and 15. Pero maraming salamat po, sir, kasi hindi ka uma-absent sa ating mga comment. Thank you so much po. We also have from Ma'am Cecilia Puertoliano. Thanks po sa informative video nyo. Ma'am Cecilia, welcome back! Maraming salamat po sa pagbabalik. We also have from Ma'am Cristina Torla. Hello, Teacher Rocky. Thank you po ng marami. Naglalaan po talaga ako ng oras para lang panoorin ang new video nyo po. Maraming salamat po. I really appreciate that. Another one from her, Teacher Rocky, pwede po bang makahingi ng soft copy ng Learner's Progress and Achievement Cardex? Thank you po. Actually, ang Learner's Progress and Achievement Cardex po ay nakalagay lang dun sa PPST module. Ano po, dun lang po yun ang galing, doon ko lang po yung kinuha. Pero syempre, nag-request kayo, gagawan natin ng soft copy yan. Ako pa ba? Malakas kayo sa akin eh. Huwag kayong mag-alala. Kung sinong gusto mag-request ng Learner's Progress and Achievement Cardex, alam niyo na kung anong dapat niyong gawin. Subscribe to our channel and then send your request sa ating Teacher Rocky Facebook page. Gagawa natin ng soft copy ang Learner's Progress and Achievement Cardex. Yan lang ba? RPMS tool nga, nabuo natin eh. Diba? Gagawin natin yan. Thank you so much, Ma'am Christina, for the idea. And we also have, again, from Ma'am Cecilia Puertoliano, hope I can get a soft copy of this RPMS serye. Thanks in advance. Medyo nawindang ako doon, Ma'am, sa request mo. Anong ibig sabihin yung buong serye? Lahat ng video? Pwede niyo po i-download ang ating mga video sa YouTube. That's downloadable, I believe. Pwede niyo po yung i-download para po magkaroon kayo ng kopya ng RPMS serye. O baka tinutukoy niyo yung RPMS portfolio na buo. Nabanggit ko na kanina po, playback a little para mapanood niyo po yung ating instruction. Maraming salamat, ma'am. We also have from Ma'am Grace Irene Rebuyat. Ito, suki ko rin to. Hello, Teacher Rocky. Thank you for sharing your soft copy to us. Shout out po sa mga co-teachers ko sa Limao Elementary School Leyte Division. Thanks po. Hello po sa lahat ng mga teachers po. Teaching and non-teaching staff sa school head po from Ma'am Limao Elementary School Leyte Division. Hello po sa inyo lahat and thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Ma'am Grace. And that's it for our pa-shout out. Siyempre, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. And again, tandaan po natin ang ating instruction kung paano tayo makaka-avail ng ating RPMS portfolio complete with MOVs and annotation at the end of objective number 15. And with that, umpisahan na natin ang pagpapaliwanag kung paano tayo makakuha ng highest possible score for objective number 13. So let us start discussing about objective number 13. Apply the personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. And this is another non-classroom observable indicator from the RPMS tool of Teacher 1 to 3 or the Proficient Teachers. So this is under KRA 5, Personal Growth and Professional Development. Our objective, apply the personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. And the only means of verification for this objective is a reflection or journal entry that highlights the application of a learner-centered teaching philosophy in the lesson plan or community work. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan daw magkaroon tayo ng reflection or journal entry that will highlight the application of a learner-centered teaching philosophy sa ating lesson plan or community work. For this objective, we will be rated according to the quality and timeliness of the means of verification. For the timeliness, syempre katulad ng dati, kailangang makapaggawa tayo or makapag-attach tayo ng 4 na means of verification, that is 1 for each objective, wherein we applied a personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. So, kailangan daw meron tayong personal philosophy of teaching na ginagamit natin para sa ating pagtuturo. For the quality, we'll get 1 point kung wala tayong attachment. 2 points if we only submitted MOV that indicates a personal philosophy of teaching that is not learner-centered. Gumamit tayo ng personal philosophy of teaching pero hindi yung learner-centered. We'll get 3 points if we submitted MOV that shows the application of a personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered, okay? So, nag-submit tayo ng MOV na nagpapakita ng philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. Nagpapakita lang, okay? So, pinakita lang natin yung philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. We get 4 points if we submitted MOV that reflects involvement of learners in the teaching-learning process resulting from the application of a personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. So, meron tayong lesson plan, meron tayong personal philosophy of teaching. Now, gumawa tayo ng reflection kung saan nag-reflect tayo kung paano magkakaroon ng involvement ang students sa teaching-learning process. So, parang reflection lang ang ginawa natin. We'll get the highest possible score, which is 5 points, if we submitted MOV that details the consistent involvement of learners in the teaching-learning process resulting from the application of a personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered, okay? So, doon sa reflection or journal entry natin, naidetalye natin na consistently sinasama natin o ini-involve natin ang ating mga estudyante sa teaching-learning process. And that is because of understanding or using this personal philosophy of teaching. That is learner-centered. Okay? So, para mas maintindihan natin, lawakan natin ng explanation. This objective is somehow related to the objective number 16 of the previous RPMS nung last school year 2021 to 2022. Sorry for that. Pero ito yung RPMS natin last year, 2021 to 2022, wherein we applied a personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. Ang pagkakaiba lang nun, ang ginawa natin last year, nag-attach tayo ng lesson plan, tapos highlight natin doon kung saang mga part doon natin na ipakita yung learner-centered na philosophy of teaching. Yun ang ginawa natin last year, which is different from what we're going to do this year, kasi this year we're going to do reflection out of the lesson plan or community work that we did. So there are these are some of the major philosophies in education. Meron tayong essentialism, perennialism, progressivism, social reconstructionism, existentialism, behaviorism, constructivism, conservatism, and humanism. Okay? Out of these major philosophies of education, meron tayong tatlong type. So we have the teacher-centered philosophy, which includes essentialism and perennialism. We also have the student-centered philosophy, which is progressivism, constructivism, and humanism. And the last one is a society-centered philosophy, which is social reconstructionism and behaviorism. So, ito yung tatlong main type of philosophy. Sabi sa ating RPMS tool, we should be able to use personal philosophy in education that is student-centered. Okay, so dito tayo pipili sa mga student-centered philosophy that we will apply personally in our teaching. So from the student-centered philosophy, we have progressivism. This focuses in developing students' moral compass. Progressivists believe that individuality, progress, and change are fundamental to one's education. Believing that people learn best from what they consider most relevant to their lives, progressivists center their curricula on the needs, experiences, interests, and abilities of students. Constructivism, on the other hand, focuses on using education to shape a student's world value. It is a theory that says learners construct knowledge rather than just passively take in information.
As people experience the world and reflect upon those experiences, they build their own representation and incorporate new information into their pre-existing knowledge or schemas. Humanism is about fostering each student to his or her fullest potential. Humanistic teachers believe that knowledge and feelings go hand in hand in the learning process. Cognitive and affective learning are both important to humanistic learning. Lessons and activities should focus on the whole student and their intellect and feelings, not one or the other. My personal teaching philosophy. I personally believe that learning should always be learner-centered. This is why I adhere to the humanistic philosophy of education. Ako po ay naniniwala sa humanistic philosophy of education. I'm a follower of humanistic philosophy of education. The humanistic learning theory was developed by Abraham Maslow, Carl Rogers, and James F.T. Pugental in the early 1900s. Humanistic psychology focuses on the idea that learners bring out the best of themselves and that humans are driven by their feelings more than rewards and punishments. These beliefs that humans are driven by feelings causes educators who understand humanistic psychology to focus on the underlying human emotional issues when they see bad behavior, not just to punish the bad behavior. The humanistic learning theory developed further and harnesses the idea that if students are upset, sad, or distressed, they are less likely to be able to focus on learning. This encourages teachers to create a classroom environment that helps students feel comfortable and safe so that they can focus on their learning. Emotions are the center of humanistic psychology. That is according to the What is Humanistic Learning Theory Education 2007 from www.wgu.edu. I always believe that learning should be fun and enjoyable. The harder we push students to learn, the less likely that they can gain focus. The desire should come from within themselves. My goal as a teacher is to motivate my learners to stimulate their interest and to make sure that they would love learning and would be looking forward for more every day. The humanistic learning theory involves the following principles. Students' choice. Teachers should value what the learners want and how they want things done and let them enjoy learning. Fostering engagement to inspire students to become self-motivated to learn. So we have to plan for a lesson that engages learners' participation. The importance of self-evaluation. Teachers should encourage students to perform self-evaluation to see how they feel about their own progress. Cognitive and affective learning are both important. Develop activities that focus on both intellect and feelings of students. And a safe learning environment. They need to feel safe physically, mentally, and emotionally in order to be able to... Okay, so let us go back again to the RPMS tool. So our objective is apply the personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. And the means of verification that we have to attach is a reflection or journal entry that highlights the application of a learner-centered teaching philosophy in the lesson plan or community work. So we are always after to how we can get the highest possible score. Sa quality, makakakuha tayo ng highest possible score pag yung reflection or journal entry na i-attach natin would detail the consistent involvement of learners in the teaching learning process resulting from the application of personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. So nakapili tayo ng teaching philosophy that is learner-centered at ginamit natin yon, na i-apply natin yon sa paggawa natin ng lesson plan or other community work. Tapos, gumawa tayo ng reflection out of that kung saan dinitalye natin yung consistent involvement. Paano natin ini-involve ang ating mga estudyante dun sa teaching and learning process. So, yung lesson plan natin, nakadetalye kung paano involve ang learners sa teaching learning process, okay? Tapos i-highlight natin yon dun sa ating lesson plan or community work. So para sa timeliness naman, para magkaroon tayo ng highest possible score, dapat we apply the personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered across 4 quarters. So 4 na reflection journal entry, 1 for each quarter in the school year. So, for this objective, sabi, matutulungan daw tayo ng PPST 7.1.2. Pero for some reason, naghanap ako ng module ng PPST 7.1.2, wala po akong makita. Kaya pala, na-realize ko, dun sa baba ng ating RPMS tool, walang nakalagay na note. RPMS, PPST module, 7.1.2, sa illustrative and instructive guide to help teachers work on this objective, di ba? Walang nakalagay. Kasi walang module para dito. Anyway, madali lang naman. Gagawa lang naman tayo ng reflection or journal entry. Ang reflection naman, di ba? It is personal, di ba? Yung ating sariling salita, sariling gawa, yung ating reflection. Kung paano tayo i-journalize natin kung ano yung mga naganap dun sa araw na yon or para dun sa lesson na yon, okay? So I have here an example of for the first quarter, gumamit ako ng aking lesson plan na ginamit for the first quarter, tapos gumawa ako ng reflection or journal entry out of this lesson plan. So the lesson plan is in Cookery NC2. So ito yung aking journal entry. Babasahin ko first quarter pero yung iba hindi ko na babasahin. Pwede nyo i-post na lang yung video na to para mabasa nyo po. So as a teacher, I have always been a believer of the humanistic philosophy of education. I always believe that teaching and learning should always be fun and enjoyable for students. This is why I always prepare a lesson which include games and other activities that attracts learners' attention to learning, and that is one of the key factors of humanistic philosophy. So highlight ko dun sa lesson plan, ano ba yung mga tinutukoy ko na games and activities that attract learners' attention and interest, diba? Para maipatunayan natin dun sa reflection natin na ginawa natin yun dun sa lesson plan. And in this lesson plan from my first quarter class, I have shown how I made sure to involve my learners in the teaching learning process. From the review part where I prepared an activity that's my student choose based on their interest, diba? Kasi dito pinapili ko sila if they want to do draw, they want to act, or they want to sing. So, in-involve ko sila dun sa teaching learning process. Pinapili ko sila, ano ba yung interest nila, okay? So, I let them choose how to perform, that is to draw, to sing, or to act. This encourages them to do what they love doing at the same time learning the same lesson. According to the humanistic philosophy of teaching, it is important that teachers should value what the learners want and how they want it done for them to enjoy learning. Okay? So, pinakita ko, in-apply ko yung humanistic philosophy of teaching, which is learner-centered. Cognitive and effective learning are both important as well in the humanistic philosophy of education. In my lesson, I always try my best to provide activities that focus on both the intellectual and feelings of my students. This can be seen on one of my activities in the lesson plan. In the application part, I have shown how I personally involve learners to personally do the task. I believe that it is in the actual doing of the task that they can feel its importance, and so they will learn more. So, importante na pinaparamdam natin sa ating mga estudyante how it is really to do the task, diba? Yung mga hands-on activity natin. They will learn, that's cognitive, and they will feel how to do it. They will actually feel, and that is affective learning. The consistent involvement of my students in the teaching and learning process has always been my priority in planning for my lesson. I always make sure that my learners are the center of the whole process. So, yun na yung reflection journal entry ko. Kagawa lang tayo ng reflection ng kwento kung paano natin sinagawa yung lesson, kasi ang tinutukoy natin dito yung lesson plan, tapos ano mga part dito, i-detalye natin kung saan sa ang mga part na yan natin naipakita that we involve our learners in the teaching learning process. from applying our personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. So, ganun lang ang gagawin natin for every quarter. So, sa second quarter, another lesson plan na ginamit ko sa lesson plan, sa aking lesson during the second quarter, tapos yung aking reflection or journal entry. Kayo na bahala magbasa niyan for your guidance. For the third quarter naman, gumamit ako ng community work kasi ang hawak kong estudyante, grade 12, nagkaroon na sila ng work immersion. So yung work immersion is an example of a community work where we send them off to different establishments sa community work kasi wala naman silang bayad dyan so that they can experience firsthand how it is to be in the working industry. Tapos, ginawan ko yan ng reflection or journal entry. For the fourth quarter, ay gumamit ako ng aking lesson plan na ginamit for the fourth quarter. Ito din yung ginamit ko dun sa fourth quarter classroom observation. Okay? And that is my reflection and journal entry. Kayo na po ang bahalang magbasa niyan. So, we're ready for the IPCRF rating computation. For the means of verification, meron tayong reflection journal entry that details the consistent involvement of learners in the teaching and learning process resulting from the application of a learner-centered philosophy of teaching. So, that gives us 5 points for the quality. At dahil nakapag-provide tayo ng 4 na MOVs, 1 for each quarter, that gives us 5 points for the timeliness. So, pwede na natin yung i-attach sa ating RPMS portfolio. So, ito na yung ating RPMS portfolio. Objective 13. So, yan yung attachment natin for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. So, linagyan natin dyan ng annotation kung saan pinaliwanag natin kung ilang points ang nakuha natin out of these attachments. So, sabi ko dyan, for this objective, I have attached examples of my lesson plans and a community work where I was able to make a reflection of. In the reflection or journal entry, I was able to detail the consistent involvement of my students to the teaching and learning process as a result of applying my personal philosophy in teaching, which is learner-centered, and yun nga yung humanistic philosophy of teaching. This gave me a score of 5 for the quality of my submitted MOVs. I also got 5 points for the timeliness because I was able to attach 4 MOVs, 1 for each of the 4 quarters. Okay, attach yan, hindi yan attack. Okay, so that's it. Meron na tayong RPMS portfolio for Objective 13. So, pwede na tayong mag-move on papunta sa ating IPCRF encoding sheet. So, nasa Objective 13 na tayo. Let's go to quality. Lalagyan natin yung 5 points na nakuha natin. And another 5 points for the timeliness. So, meron na tayong score for Objective 13. And that will show off sa ating part 1. Ayan, ang Objective 13 natin. Sorry, sumobra. Meron na tayong score para sa Objective 13 and that will also reflect sa ating Objective 13. Ayan, may score na tayo sa Objective 13 from the summary sheet ng ating IPCRF. And that's it for our Objective number 13.
Alright, di ba ang dali lang buuhin ang objective number 13, ang bilis lang, gagawa lang tayo ng reflection form. Ang reflection form naman, walang rules and regulation yan. Kanya-kanyang banat yan, personal, di ba? Pwede kang gumawa. Basta susundin mo lang kung ano yung nasa RPMS tool na sabi, it should show details of how we involve our learners in the teaching and learning process as a result of applying our personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. Basta nasunod mo yun, you'll get the highest possible score. Sana po ay muli ay nakatulong sa inyo at nakapagbigay sa inyo ng halaman kung paano po natin magagawa ang objective number 13 para pwede na natin yang umpisahan. With the template po, wala naman template ang reflection, but you can request for my sample reflection para po maging guide nyo. Pwede po kayong mag-request ng soft copy niyan. I'm willing to share it to you. Alam nyo na kung paano. You have to subscribe to our channel. Send a screenshot of your subscription to our Teacher Rocky Facebook page. Tapos doon po kayo mag-send kung anong nire-request nyo po. Maraming salamat. Don't forget to hit that like button kung nagustuhan nyo yung video na to. And para sa mga hindi pa nakaka-subscribe, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Pag nag-notification bell po kayo, be sure po na yung bell all, yung may dalawang ganon yung bell, para po ma-notify kayo every time may bago tayong video. Kadalasan kasi yung mga nagre-request po sa atin ng template, yung nagsisend sa atin ng screenshot ng subscription, hindi po sila naka-bell all. Nalulungkot ako. Pero syempre, dahil nag-subscribe, pinibigay ko yung request. Pero sana lang, i-bell all nyo yung inyong notification bell. Kasi, mahirap yun nalalagpasan ng video para dire-diretso po yung pagbuo natin ng RPMS portfolio. With that, thank you so much and God bless everyone. Katulad ng dati, let us all always be a blessing to everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.